Imagine you have a web application with hundreds of test cases. Every time developer releases a new version, you need to open the browser, enter data, click buttons, verify results, and repeat the same test again and again. Doing this manually every time can become repetitive and time consuming. What if we could make the browser perform these actions automatically? That's where Selenium comes in. So, what exactly is Selenium? Selenium is an open source project that provides tools for automating web browsers. In simple terms, Selenium allows you to write programs that interact with the browser just like a user would. For example, Selenium can open a browser, navigate to a website, find elements on the page, enter text, whatever you want, click buttons, and verify the behavior of the application. Instead of performing those steps manually, we can write automation code to perform them for us. So let's take a simple example. Imagine when we need to test a login page manually, what would we do? Manually, we would open the website, enter the username, enter the password, click login button, and check whether the user successfully reaches the application. With whatever we did now, with Selenium, we can automate those same browser actions. Our script can launch the browser, enter the credentials, and can click the login button and then verify the results. And once that test is automated, we can execute it whenever we need it. Now, you might ask, why should we automate this in the first place? Assume and imagine you have 10 test cases. Running them manually may not be a big problem, but what happens when your application grows and you have hundreds of regression test cases? And those tests need to be executed every time a new build is released. Repeating stable test scenarios manually can take a significant amount of time. So, automation allows us to execute suitable repetitive test consistency consistently and much faster than repeating every action manually. And testers can spend more time on areas that require human judgment, exploration, and investigation. So, Selenium is one of the tools that helps us automate browser based testing. So, but there is something very important you should understand. Selenium is primarily designed for automating web browsers. So, if you have a web application running in Chrome, Firefox, or Edge, or any other supported browser, Selenium can interact with that application through the browser. But Selenium is not a general purpose automation tool for every type of application. For example, we don't use Selenium itself to automate native desktop applications. And for native mobile application automation, we normally use tools designed for mobile automation. So remember, when you think about Selenium, think about web browser automation. Another reason Selenium became so popular is its flexibility. Selenium WebDriver supports automation across major browsers, and Selenium bindings are available for several programming languages. But in this series, we are going to use Python, so we will write our automation code in Python and use Selenium to control the browser. If you are new to automation, don't worry. We will build everything step by step as we progress through the course. You might have hear this word Selenium used together with terms like Selenium WebDriver, Selenium IDE, and Selenium Grid. These are different parts of the Selenium project. Selenium WebDriver is what we will use extremely to control browser through our automation code. Selenium IDE provides record and playback capabilities for browser interaction. That's what Selenium IDE does. And Selenium Grid helps execute WebDriver test across different machines and environments. Don't worry about memorizing all of this right now. For the moment, just understand that Selenium is a project containing multiple tools, and WebDriver will be the main focus on our automation journey. One common misunderstanding beginners have is thinking automation means everything should be automated. That's not the goal. Some tests are excellent candidates for automation, especially repetitive and stable scenarios. Other testing activities require human observation, exploration, and judgment. So, Selenium is a tool that helps a tester automate suitable browser scenarios. It doesn't replace testing knowledge, Knowing how to write automation code is useful, but understanding what to test, why to test it, and what could go wrong is equally important. That's the mindset we will follow throughout the series. And since we have just learned what Selenium is, this is also a good time to start thinking about it from an interview perspective. A very common beginner interview question is, what is Selenium? You should be able to explain it clearly instead of simply memorizing one definition. I have created a dedicated Selenium interview questions shorts playlist where we will cover short interview questions related to the topics we are learning. So after completing each lesson, check the related interview shorts. You can use them for quick revision and interview preparation while progressing throughout the course. So before we finish, let's quickly recap. Selenium provides tool for automating web browsers. We can use Selenium to automate browser action such as opening a web page, finding elements, entering data, clicking buttons, and checking application behavior. Selenium supports major browsers and provides binding for multiple programming languages. In this course, we will use Selenium with Python, and most importantly, Selenium is a tool. Effective automation requires good testing knowledge and understanding what should be automated. And that's our introduction to Selenium. If this lesson helped you understand Selenium clearly, subscribe to HDET Simplified and follow the series in order. In the next lesson, we are going to understand Selenium architecture. We will see what actually happens when our Selenium code sends a command to the browser and understands how the different components communicates with each other. That's when Selenium will start making much more sense internally. So practice what we have covered today, check the related interview shots, and I will see you in the next lesson. Thank you for watching.